Let's see if my audio is working now. It is. Just making sure. My microphone was not plugged in. This is Ross Sapp. This is the Fightful MMA podcast, a rare edition. I don't do a lot of post shows anymore. Make sure, or you all let me know that my audio is okay. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. We've got plenty to talk about. It's a weird situation right now, guys. I'm doing this on the wrestling channel for a reason, because I want wrestling fans that might not usually tune in to maybe check this out, because this might help shed some light on some other things as well. We got UFC Brazil today. It took place in front of no fans. Pretty fun card. I liked it. On paper, it was a good card. Let's go ahead and run through it really quickly. Amanda Ribas defeated Randa Marcos via unanimous decision. Bia Malecki defeated Veronica Macedo via unanimous decision. Reina Moroz defeated Myrna Bueno Silva via unanimous decision. Rani Yaya fought Enrique Barzola to a majority draw. Zaleski dos Santos defeated Alexei Kunchenko via unanimous decision. All decisions on the prelim show. Wow. But the headliner of the prelims, pretty outstanding. Brandon Moreno ended up defeating Jessier Formiga via unanimous decision. Moreno, who once lost his tough fight, came back and won a great debut, has managed to come back and knock Jessier Formiga, a guy in Formiga who is perpetually in the title picture. He's always around there. He's always like right there on the cusp. He's always almost there, but he's never gotten a title fight. He's been close so many times. His first fight against John Dodson, a flyweight title eliminator. When he fought Henry Cejudo, that was a title eliminator. You could argue that when he fought Ray Borg, that he was headed that way. When he fought Davison Figueiredo, he beat him. You figure, okay, well, he's probably got a title shot if he wins tonight, right? No, man, he's come so close so many times, but hasn't gotten there. And he won't now either, because Brandon Moreno just knocked him off and took his title shot. Reminder, send a super chat, any amount, if you're listening live on youtube.com/Fightful, and we'll read your question or statement on the air. Tim Traver says, my dad and I enjoyed that fight night. Yeah, I think more people than usual will have enjoyed this fight night because it's the only sports going right now. SmackDown's viewership was up. One of the better that UFC or WWE, I almost say UFC on Fox every time. It's such a habit. One of the best that WWE on Fox has enjoyed because there isn't anything else on. This is going to halt production of television shows, which won't really be felt until later this year. You'll see less TV shows being rolled out in the fall and the winter. But, oh, man. Then we got to the main card. Francisco Trinaldo defeated John McDessie via unanimous decision. I thought that McDessie had a chance at this one. He didn't. Trinaldo's not quite there yet, man. He's still going. And at some point, that's why I picked against him here. I was like, man, at some time, this 41-year-old Trinaldo, that's going to be it for him. No, it's not it for him. He's won 3 of his last 4. By the way, Jessier Formiga's 34. He's got to shit or get off the pot in that sense of the word when it comes to that title picture. Nikita Krylov keeps proving me wrong. My in-real-life best friend, my IRL best friend, is a Nikita Krylov fan. I think facetiously. He's who I call Nikita Krylov fan, but I thought Johnny Walker stood a good chance, but Nikita Krylov dominated him, man. And now, as we've seen, Johnny Walker, the 27-year-old, when he gets to the higher levels of MMA, he struggles. And Krylov struggles there too. But against those 10 to 15 ranked guys, Krylov's all right. I'm not going to write him off nearly as much in the future. Now, if he fights a Teixeira or a Blachowicz or a Serkinov or somebody like that, well then yeah, I'm going to write him off. Because he ain't beating them. He's a little too raw, but his game has improved a little bit. Now, you got to understand, when I go hard on Nikita Krylov, I remember watching him when he was 22, 23, and he was so raw, and there was things he should have known that he didn't know. Also, Renato Moicano defeated Damir Hadzovic, 44 seconds. This was quick. We needed, after, 9 straight decisions, even though they were some good ones. I had fun watching this show. We needed something to break that up. Damir Hadzovic has now lost 3 of his last 5. This was a Moicano fight. He was going to win this fight. He needed to win this fight, though. He returned to lightweight after competing at featherweight for much of his career, and I think it's a good move. He looked great there. He got the quick submission. I'm fine with this. I like Renato Moicano winning this fight. I also like Gilbert Burns beating the brakes off of Damian Maia. Ooh, boy. Ooh, a boy. This one was something, guys. I always said that Damian Maia is like a knuckleballer. As long as he can still do what he does, which is drag people to the ground and get the submission, he's going to be all right. He'll be okay, as long as he doesn't take a lot of damage doing that. Well, this was damage. This is the first time that Damian Maia has been finished in a decade. In more than a decade. In 11 years. He didn't get finished one time in the entire 2010s. But he did tonight. Gilbert Burns put a stop to Damian Maia. Gilbert Burns has now won 5 fights in a row, including wins over Gunnar Nelson, Oliveira Aben-Mercier. He's won 6 of 7. You gotta look at him in that division. This was good matchmaking. Gilbert Burns is a 33-year-old guy who will be 34 probably by the time he fights next. You gotta give him a big name like Damian Maia just to see what will work. Then we got Charles Oliveira versus Kevin Lee. Now, I had disappointed in Kevin Lee for moving back to lightweight to begin with. This is a guy who I feel kind of bad for him in some senses. He is the biggest case for a 165-pound division. He is a 27-year-old potential superstar. Welterweight is not good for him. Lightweight is not good for him. Unfortunately, 165 doesn't exist. He can't make 155 safely. He had a very curious game plan. I don't know what to make of his pace and his footwork. I don't know. If I were him, I would have tried to strike more. He seemed to be like determined to land a big slam or a big takedown that would put him into side or mount or something. And it didn't happen, man. It just didn't happen. And Charles Oliveira picked up the submission win via guillotine choke. I thought Kevin Lee was going to win this. I did, but I also thought he was going to win this before he missed weight, and then I didn't think he was going to win this so much. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, has won 7 in a row. I ain't betting against Charles Oliveira for a while. This is very curious. Somebody in the chat mentions Burns versus Ponzinibbio. I love that fight. That's a good fight. That's a real good one. As for Lee, man, it's such a bummer because I thought, just like GSP thought it too. I keep looking at this camera. I need to look at this camera. I thought that Kevin Lee was going to be the next big star. I really did. If I were them, I would put him against Pettis at welterweight or Luque. For Gilbert Burns, I see anybody in the top 10, honestly. I think at this point you got to give Gilbert Burns a top 10 guy. So maybe not Ponzinibbio. I don't think Ponzinibbio is even ranked right now. But I do like that fight. It seems like a fun fight. But UFC Brazil took place in front of no fans. Nobody. Now, they still promoted next week's UFC London, but here's the issue. And I'm sure most people that are going to be in London are already there, but outside of residents of the U.S., travel's prohibited back and forth to the UK now. Nevada State Athletic Commission met on Saturday during this event, actually, and revoked all licenses for upcoming shows over the next 2 weeks. Now, fortunately, they are having another meeting 2 or 3 days before UFC Columbus, which is now UFC Apex. That's Francis Ngannou fighting, that's him fighting Rosenstruck, and Asuncao was supposed to be on the show. Greg Hardy, Khalil Roundtree. You got Tisha Torres on that show, Matt Brown. Not a great show, but it's a show. And quite frankly, what the sports world needs right now is a show. And they said no licenses for the next couple weeks. Now, here's the thing. Here's the concern. What are they going to do about Khabib and Tony Ferguson in a month? If they cancel that again, not because of an injury, not because of a sickness, but because of coronavirus, oh, that'd be heartbreaking, man. And the sad reality is they're already going to lose out on like a $3 to $4 million gate, probably. And that's a bummer. I don't like that for the UFC. It's sad, man. It really is. And I want to see that fight, selfishly. I've always joked with people that nothing will make you a casual MMA fan quicker than covering it. I love my job. I'll never complain about my job. It's just, man, sitting through 6-7 hour shows all the time is exhausting. This one today didn't have anybody in the crowd, and it still lasted 6 hours, man. Couldn't imagine watching a 6-hour football or basketball game. And the thing is, if you were watching a 6-hour football or basketball game, it's because it went to so many overtimes that it would have to be exciting. I don't know, man. And you don't hear any fight announcements this week, like nothing like that. We're in a weird time. And I hope the UFC can put on these shows. Really, I think the next week and a half is going to lead to the NSAC's ruling and a lot of other rulings. Because on the pro wrestling side, WWE has the Performance Center. That's awesome. I love that the UFC has the Apex for this stuff too. It is a fail-safe. And I thought that AEW had Daly's Place for that stuff, but it doesn't look like they can use it. But I think that we need stuff like this. And I think that depending on how the health of some people are, out of this event, out of WWE on Friday, Monday, Wednesday, it's going to perhaps open this up to some more people. NWA's got their wrestling in the can. Impact Wrestling has their wrestling in the can. But quite honestly, those don't fit the profile of an AEW, WWE, UFC. The UFC are not dummies either. They know this is a real opportunity for them to get eyeballs on their product that they would not normally have. That's why the whole show was on ESPN. ESPN knows it too. I think that it's, I keep saying a unique position. It is a unique position. And I hope they can put these shows on safely. I hope they can do it bare bones enough to where we can get a little bit of entertainment out of this and people can take their minds off of things. The first time in weeks that I didn't have my mind on that virus for more than 2 hours was SmackDown on Friday. So I thank WWE for that. Tonight was another situation. I didn't have my mind on it as much. KSW had to cancel. They have originally moved behind closed doors and they canceled. Bellator canceled. I got the news on that yesterday. Got a message that said, hey, Bellator's going to cancel. Press release incoming. I knew before some of the fighters did, unfortunately. Some of the fighters that went there and weighed in had no idea this show was going to be canceled. And I feel for them because not only does this situation breed some uncertainty for paychecks and competition and the hard work you put in, but quite frankly, the emotional roller coaster that a lot of those people went on, showing up in the midst of this virus, making weight, hearing, okay, well, it's going to be behind closed doors, then quite frankly, hearing from some goof on the internet named Ross Sapp that their show wasn't going to happen before they even knew. Now, I know Bellator didn't want that to get out before it got out. It did, but you should tell the fighters first. Tell the fighters first. Man, it is wild. And today's show, last night's SmackDown, were very humbling and different and unique. I've never quite seen anything like it. I'm interested to see how you guys felt about this show and the way that they went about things and the lack of a crowd. It was unreal. It was odd. But that's the world that we're living in right now. So Kevin Lee ends up dropping another fight at lightweight. Like I said, he's stuck in the middle. Charles Oliveira on a hot streak. If I had 5 stories to take out of this show, 1, Brandon Moreno is a contender, maybe the next contender for the flyweight title. Nikita Krylov does not suck as bad as I thought. Kevin Lee needs 165. Charles Oliveira needs a top 5 opponent. And Gilbert Burns needs a top 10 opponent again. Moicano, it is what it is. He's moving to lightweight. He's got to prove himself. Wouldn't hate Moicano and Oliveira. I could think of far worse fights than that, but you know. Guys, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I know this was an abbreviated show. It was a short show, but I wanted to give you guys some kind of coverage. I wanted to let you guys know what I thought about some of this stuff, and I wanted to hear what you guys thought about some of this stuff. FightfulMMA.com will continue to have all of your MMA news during this crazy time. But until next time, guys, we're out.